We've already seen an example of one-point perspective when we drew a small sketch of the railway lines and the trees. One-point perspective is often used for interior design and designing a room space. And the basic rule for one-point perspective is that you draw a flat orthographic drawing of the object in 2D, and then horizontal lines go to a vanishing point in the centre of the drawing, and you draw a smaller 2D representation for the back of the object. This is not a design system that we often use in product design, but it is one that you at least need to be able to recognise. If we take a three-dimensional object for a moment and we look at it carefully, we'll notice that if we look at it as though it is 3D, lines go off into the distance at an angle on all faces. What we're going to do with two-point perspective is we're going to create a horizon line. We're going to draw the object with its front edge vertical, and then all the other lines will go off to vanishing points at the appropriate point on the page. So let's do that. I'm going to sketch in an horizon line and place on it two vanishing points. There's the front edge of our object. I'm going to use red pen to represent construction lines. You would draw these lightly. You can see that this goes off into the distance in two directions. There's going to be the front of my object, and there's going to be the back of the object, and then there we have two-point perspective cuboid. In reality, when we're looking at a real object, as you noticed earlier, I pointed out two vanishing points. There's the front edge, vanishing point off in the distance on the horizon line this side. A vanishing point would also exist for this side, but in reality, if we look very, very carefully at an object, there's also a vanishing point for the vertical lines. So in fact, all lines would converge to a vanishing point from an object. So we're going to draw you a demonstration of that. There's our horizon line with vanishing points. Now I'm going to put a vanishing point on the page for you here, but you would not normally draw a vanishing point this close to an object. So there's the front edge of my cube. I'm going to use my red pen for construction lines. And you can see that that's a slightly more realistic view of our 3D cuboid than the drawing that we did when we used 2-point perspective. It's the 3-point perspective that we're going to focus on for the majority of these particular modules, as this is the one that gives us the best 3D illusion for the viewer to look at.